Have you ever felt a profound inner shift in your life, as if awakening to a new understanding of yourself and the world around you? Such moments are not mere coincidences or strange accidents. They mark the beginning of a spiritual awakening, an ancient path of soul transformation described by Helena Petrovna Blavatsky, whose timeless works delve into this mysterious process. Spiritual awakening is not a straightforward journey, but more like a unique spiral of DNA for each seeker of truth. Some people may repeat specific stages multiple times, while others might skip certain steps altogether. Yet no two journeys are identical. Blavatsky emphasized that there are as many paths to the divine as there are souls on earth. Despite the diversity in individual experiences, common threads unite us all on the sacred quest for self-awareness. One who has walked this road might recall countless moments of confusion, realization, and growth. Today we explore the initial stage of this awakening, a stage where one shifts from unconscious existence to the dawning light of self-recognition. During this first phase, the individual often remains deeply entangled in the ego's grip. Here, thoughts and emotions reign without conscious oversight. People at this juncture identify completely with their feelings and mental chatter, mistaking these transient phenomena for their true selves. Blavatsky aptly described this condition as a spiritual sleep, where many spend years or even a lifetime. The ego confines the mind within rigid borders, leaving no space to differentiate the authentic self from passing experiences. Imagine someone who, after receiving criticism at work, holds on to resentment for an entire week, fully merging with their hurt feelings, unable to view the situation from a broader perspective. Or think of a young mother so immersed in her parenting role that she loses sight of her former identity. Meanwhile, a successful entrepreneur may equate their worth entirely with status, achievements, and wealth, oblivious to the fact that these are mere temporary ornaments unrelated to their true nature. In ancient theosophical teachings examined by Blavatsky, this state is likened to residing in a hall of ignorance, where souls housed in physical bodies wander blinded by the illusion of the material world. It is here that people see only shadows, believing them to be reality, and hear echoes as if they were the genuine voices of truth. Reflect for a moment on how many decisions in your life arose from fear, societal pressures, imposed cultural norms, or desires to meet others' expectations. How often did you sacrifice authentic wishes to fit into accepted molds? This is the unsuspecting hallmark of the first stage, unconscious existence. People in this state tend to react to life passively rather than actively shaping it. Control feels limited, leading to defensive behavior, anger, and negativity. Life appears predestined, with any misfortune reinforcing the belief in one's powerlessness. Blavatsky referred to this perception as karmic determinism, a mistaken belief that destiny is fixed and humans are merely spectators of their lives. Take, for example, a woman stuck in toxic relationships year after year, rationalizing her suffering as fate or karmic punishment. She might tell herself that she deserves this due to past actions or that a higher power tests her. Instead of recognizing her part in the situation and taking active steps for change, she surrenders her power to circumstances, descending deeper into pain and victimhood. Picture a man who has spent decades working at a job he dislikes, suppressing his true talents and callings daily. He convinced himself that this is how life turned out, that being realistic means giving up dreams, and not everyone is lucky enough to do what they love. His inner voice, which once urged creativity and self-expression, has long been drowned out by rationalizations, fear of failure, and social approval of stability. This individual becomes so entangled in his personal narrative that life feels like something happening to him rather than something he actively creates. Blavatsky called this state Maya, the illusion through which most people perceive reality without awareness of deeper spiritual dimensions. Maya is not just a simple illusion in the usual sense. It is a cosmic force causing multiplicity where only unity exists. It acts as a veil that hides reality's true nature from the unawakened mind. In this Maya state, a person takes every thought of their mind as absolute truth. I am not good enough. The world is dangerous. Success demands struggle. Such beliefs create a filter through which all incoming information passes. Because our brains seek confirmation of existing beliefs, a phenomenon psychologists call confirmation bias, individuals repeatedly find proof that their worldview is correct, thus reinforcing the illusion of its objectivity. In theosophical terms, Maya resembles a hypnotic trance. Just like a hypnotized person might sincerely believe they are holding an apple when nothing is really in their hand, The unawakened consciousness perceives its internal projections as objective reality. Blavatsky said, "The entire visible world is but a symbol and shadow of the invisible," anticipating the discovery of quantum physics that would later confirm the illusory nature of dense matter. Seeing others objectively during this phase is tremendously difficult because perception is filtered through the lens of one's experience and projections. This lack of clarity hinders true understanding of others, creating distorted views of the world. A person sees not real people, but their own projections, fears, and desires reflecting back at them like mirrors. Swiss psychologist Carl Jung called this phenomenon shadow projection. The traits we reject or deny in ourselves are attributed to others, and we respond with judgment or admiration. Long before Jung, Blavatsky explained this through the concept of skandhas, mental aggregates that shape perception and response. Imagine someone unconsciously suppressing a desire for creative self-expression. When encountering a free-spirited artist, they might feel a mix of envy, admiration, and condemnation. How can one be so irresponsible and live without stability? This reaction reveals more about the suppressed aspects of the observer's personality than about the artist. Or consider a woman who denies her own strength and independence, unconsciously projecting these qualities onto authoritarian and cold colleagues who cause her discomfort and irritation. The world is a great mirror, taught Blavatsky. What we see in others exists within ourselves. Be grateful to those who reveal your shadow side. They are your greatest teachers on the path of self-knowledge. One of the clearest signs of the first stage is reactivity, the tendency to respond automatically to external stimuli rather than consciously choosing one's reaction. Anger, hurt, irritation, fear, envy. These emotions can overwhelm people, leaving no room to observe what is happening. Common expressions like "I was seized by anger" or "fear paralyzed me" describe the state of merging with emotions typical at this level. Blavatsky often used the metaphor of the chariot, where horses symbolize emotions. The chariot is the body, and the charioteer is the mind. In the unawakened state, the horses run wild, the charioteer is either asleep or intoxicated, and the chariot careens uncontrollably, endangering itself and others. The first step toward wisdom, she wrote, is awakening the charioteer to realize that he is neither the horses nor the chariot and can learn to guide them. This stage of unconsciousness is characterized by deep entanglement in the ego's web, blurring boundaries between the true self and the external world. Yet awareness of this state becomes the initial step toward spiritual awakening. Blavatsky stated that the first step to truth is the recognition of one's own ignorance. Interestingly, even becoming aware of one's unawakened condition is a sign of budding awakening. It is like a moment within a lucid dream when a person suddenly realizes, "This is a dream." This awareness does not change the dream content, but fundamentally alters the dreamer's relationship to it. Knowing that it is an illusion creates a degree of freedom within it. Similarly, the first flicker of consciousness regarding one's unawakened state causes a tiny crack in the ego's monolithic structure. The individual begins to notice repeating patterns in reactions and recognizes the old stories told about the world and themselves. "Here I go again, getting angry whenever someone disagrees with me." Or, "I fall into despair at the slightest failure. I constantly compare myself to others." These small moments of self-observation act like the first rays of dawn, heralding a new day of consciousness. Knowledge comes through two paths, Blavatsky taught: great trials and attentive self-observation. Sometimes traumatic events such as losing a loved one, serious illness, or career collapse become catalysts that shake a person from the comfortable sleep of unconsciousness. At other times, it is a quiet but persistent sense of emptiness and meaninglessness, a realization after achieving external goals that these accomplishments brought no lasting happiness. Imagine a successful executive who sacrificed health, relationships, and simple joys for decades to build a career. He has power, wealth, and recognition, but standing at his penthouse window, feels only exhaustion and emptiness. The sudden question arises, is this all there is? Was this the meaning of life? If this question does not get drowned by new distractions, it can spark awakening. Or recall a woman who spent her life pursuing the ideal relationship, believing that meeting the right partner would bring happiness. After painful separations, she marries the one, builds a family, yet finds that happiness is not constant, and the inner void remains beneath the surface pleasures. At this moment, a saving realization may emerge, that sources of true happiness lie not outside but within. Blavatsky believed each soul dialogues continuously with its personality, attempting to guide it toward awakening. This conversation takes the form of intuitive insights, meaningful coincidences, recurring dreams, or sudden interest in spiritual philosophy and practices. The higher self is always seeking to be heard by the lower self, she wrote. It speaks in symbols, synchrony, and feelings rather than logical words. The journey towards spiritual awakening begins with this insight, the acknowledgement of the need to break free from unconscious patterns and explore deeper layers of existence. This is the starting point for evolution towards greater self-awareness and connection to the profound aspects of human experience. Yet one must understand that mere recognition of unawakened status is not full awakening. It is but the first step on a long path, like the traveler lost in a forest who finally admits being lost. This admission is necessary to begin looking for the right way, but it does not lead home by itself. Many stop at this initial awareness, satisfied only with recognizing the problem. However, real awakening demands not only perceiving the shortcomings of one's current condition, but also persistent effort to transform it. Knowledge without action is just another kind of sleep. As we prepare to explore the next phases of this sacred journey, where the ego begins to die and deeper truths reveal themselves, keep in mind this essential principle. Awakening is both a process and a practice. It is not a single moment but a spiral of growth, where awareness deepens, patterns dissolve, and the soul gradually unveils its true light. Our stories, examples, and lessons all serve to illuminate this path. Stay with us as we continue unfolding these profound stages, inviting you into ever greater understanding and awakening. Transformation through the death of the ego and the search for truth. In the journey of spiritual awakening, one of the most profound transformations is the symbolic death of the ego, a stage where the familiar sense of self begins to dissolve. This experience is often described as a crisis, yet it marks a crucial step toward deeper understanding and authentic living. Imagine a man who has defined himself by his career achievements and social status. After a serious illness, he faces the unsettling question, who am I without these external markers? His identity, once as solid as a fortress, crumbles like a house of cards. This disorientation, while painful, opens the door to a new discovery beyond superficial labels. Similarly, a woman who devoted her life entirely to family suddenly finds herself alone as her children leave home and her spouse becomes absorbed in work. Left with a quiet but vast emptiness, she asks herself, who am I outside my roles? This question may initially evoke fear and confusion, yet it invites her to explore the soul's true essence. Other people may come to recognize this experience in the story of a young individual whose self-worth depended on physical appearance. Following a severe accident that changes his face, he confronts inner resistance and denial. However, this crisis also becomes a catalyst for self-compassion and the realization that beauty resides in character and spirit, not skin deep. Such experiences remind us that the ego is not a fixed entity, but a collection of beliefs and identities subject to change. This phase is sometimes referred to in esoteric traditions as the mystical death, a necessary destruction of falsehood to reveal authentic selfhood. It is like an alchemist's furnace, where base metals transform into gold. The ego, consisting of social roles, expectations, and self-imposed limits, must be dismantled. The breakdown is not annihilation, but transformation, a clearing away of old layers to uncover the core truth. This process can bring intense emotional turmoil, including fear, anger, and existential doubt. Someone may ask repeatedly, who am I under all these masks? These questions push the seeker beyond their comfort zone, urging a confrontation with fundamental truths. Many people find themselves doubting their mental health during this transition, feeling as if their personality is melting away. In truth, they are awakening from a long slumber, stepping into an unfamiliar world that feels both threatening and freeing. It is akin to waking from a dream that no longer fits the reality they seek. At this point, old attachments lose their grip, and the seeker may experience a profound sense of loss or even grief. Yet paradoxically, these feelings pave the way for renewal. Transformation at this depth is rarely smooth. It challenges everything previously held as true. Following the dissolution of ego comes the stage of searching, a quest for meaning and clarity. A person who was once content with material success may suddenly find those achievements hollow and meaningless. They begin exploring spiritual teachings, meditative practices, and ancient philosophies in an earnest attempt to piece together their fragmented world. Consider a teacher with years of experience who feels an unexpected emptiness. She turns to texts on mysticism and attends retreats, drawn by an inner yearning to know more than just facts, but the essence of existence itself. Her journey may include periods of confusion and hopeful breakthroughs, a dance between doubt and faith. During this search, people typically encounter varied perspectives and practices. Some dive into meditation or prayer. Others seek guidance from spiritual mentors or immerse themselves in creative expression. Each fragment of wisdom adds to a mosaic that forms their evolving understanding. This stage is distinguished by a passionate thirst for truth, mixed with the humility to accept that knowledge is vast and often elusive. A traveler on this path learns to cherish questions as much as answers, recognizing that the quest itself nurtures growth. Inner transformation often includes changing external circumstances. A person may alter diet, social circles, or career choices in alignment with newfound values. For example, an artist who once complied with commercial demands may start expressing more authentic work, even if it means losing popularity or income. This is a courageous act of integrity, prioritizing soul's voice over societal approval. Another individual might abandon habits that no longer serve their purpose, stepping into a simpler, more conscious lifestyle. The search for truth is as much about shedding as it is about gaining, removing layers of conditioning to reveal genuine selfhood. This process parallels ancient teachings emphasizing three pillars of knowing: the desire to learn, the understanding that one is learning, and the awareness of what remains unknown. It requires patience and persistence amid uncertainties. Sometimes personal crises trigger the search. Losses, whether of relationships, health, or identity, act as catalysts that break through complacency. At other times, subtle inner nudges awaken a longing that refuses to be ignored. Throughout history, countless seekers have echoed this pattern. Transformation begins in the breaking of old selfhood and the open-hearted pursuit of a deeper reality. Such spiritual journeys are rarely linear. They involve cycles of progress and regression, moments of light and shadow. The death of the ego is not the end, but the doorway to new consciousness. It is the crucible wherein the seeker's true nature begins to emerge, free from false images and limiting narratives. Awareness grows that identity is fluid, interconnected, and expansive. No longer confined by the rigid walls of past beliefs, this revelation invites a profound sense of freedom and responsibility as the individual steps into an authentic life. As this chapter unfolds, we see that letting go of egoic attachments is challenging but essential. Those who embrace this transition often describe it as both the darkest and most enlightening experience of their lives. They come to understand that the spiritual path is not about losing oneself, but profoundly finding oneself. This is the turn from self-imposed illusion toward genuine illumination. The next stage in the journey continues from this awakening: the integration of newfound truth into everyday living, where the authentic self begins to shine through every action and relationship. It is here that the transformation ignited by the death of ego gives birth to a living expression of spiritual insight. This exploration of embodiment and authenticity deepens the initial awakening and offers hope to those undertaking this timeless voyage. Manifestation of the true self and living in harmony. The journey toward discovering the true self is a profound and transformative experience that reshapes one's life in remarkable ways. As the veils of societal expectations and old identities fall away, an individual begins to perceive themselves beyond the roles they once played. They start to live authentically, embracing vulnerability and shedding the masks that were once worn for acceptance or protection. This process is neither simple nor quick, yet it is deeply rewarding, offering a glimpse into the pure essence of one's being. Imagine a man who spent decades climbing the corporate ladder, defining his worth solely by his job title and income. After a long period of self-inquiry, he realizes that these external markers do not define who he truly is. His authentic self emerges as he starts engaging in volunteer work, helping people in his community without any expectation of reward or recognition. This shift is often accompanied by an internal transformation where old wounds surface and emotional healing takes place. A woman who had long fought feelings of unworthiness notices how her self-compassion grows as she confronts her inner struggles. Through this vulnerability, she connects with a deeper sense of peace and self-acceptance that was once elusive. Living authentically means aligning daily actions with inner values rather than external pressures. It requires courage to face criticism and misunderstanding, as others may resist or fail to comprehend the person you are becoming. For example, a teacher who left a stable position to work with disadvantaged children experienced skepticism from colleagues, yet found profound satisfaction in this new chapter. Such radical life shifts often include reevaluating relationships, careers, and lifestyles, selecting what resonates with the true self, and releasing what hinders growth. Though these changes can bring uncertainty, they also pave the way for spiritual freedom and greater harmony. This transformation resembles an alchemical process where the lead of past identities is transmuted into the gold of authenticity. It involves an inner fire that melts away illusions and falsehoods, revealing the soul's radiant core. People stepping into this stage learn to discern and trust their intuition, seeing beyond conditioned fears and limiting beliefs. They develop a heightened awareness of what nurtures their spirit and what depletes it, leading to more conscious choices. A musician who abandoned commercial success to create soulful, heartfelt compositions embodies this shift. While it may sacrifice external accolades, the reward is a life vibrating with truth and meaningful self-expression. The shedding of old roles brings an inevitable sense of vulnerability. When a person discards the identity of a successful professional or perfect parent, feelings of insecurity and fear often arise. Who will they be without these familiar labels? Will others accept the new unveiled self? These questions and doubts are natural and signify a deeper awakening taking place. Vulnerability becomes the gateway to authenticity, as it dissolves the barriers that separate the individual from genuine connection with self and others. A former corporate executive who started a sanctuary for abandoned animals found herself exposed and uncertain at first, yet each compassionate interaction strengthened her resolve and sense of purpose. As this process unfolds, emotional purification is central. Past traumas rise to conscious awareness, inviting acceptance and healing. A man carrying childhood rejection learns to comfort his inner child through meditation and journaling, releasing old pains with love. Emotional storms, joyful highs, and moments of profound sorrow are integral to this purification. These waves soften over time, replaced by an inner steadiness that accommodates life's complexity without losing balance. Physical shifts often accompany these changes as well, with people experiencing increased sensitivity, vivid dreams, and intuitive insights. They recognize these as signs the body is recalibrating to the soul's evolving vibration. Integration is key on this path. Spiritual knowledge moves beyond theory and becomes lived wisdom, shaping every thought, word, and action. A former entrepreneur who once sought wealth for status now employs his skills to foster community projects with compassion and integrity. His business transforms from a vehicle of ego into a reflection of his true self. This authenticity naturally draws others who seek inspiration and understanding. Like a luminous beacon, the awakened individual guides not through preaching, but simply by embodying their sincere nature. Yet this journey is not linear or free from challenges. The newly authentic often face resistance from those accustomed to their previous persona. A mother choosing art over domestic expectations may encounter family disapproval. Such conflicts test resolve, but also deepen the commitment to self-honesty. Furthermore, the path demands balancing genuine self-expression with responsibility toward existing relationships and societal roles. True freedom, as taught by ancient sages, arises not from escaping duties but harmonizing them with the soul's calling. Ultimately, manifesting the true self leads to a deep harmony where soul, mind, and body unite in conscious flow with life and cosmos. This state transcends intellectual understanding and becomes an all-encompassing experience of unity. A senior man who endured a harsh childhood now finds peace by mentoring youth and forgiving past hurts. His presence radiates a timeless calm and wisdom born from trials overcome. Acceptance of both strengths and flaws replaces self-judgment with compassion. This unconditional self-love becomes the foundation for peaceful coexistence with oneself and others. Living in harmony also means embracing the natural interplay of light and shadow within us. The suffering and conflicts inherent to life are not rejected, but seen as necessary elements of growth. A woman battling illness may volunteer at hospices, transforming pain into meaningful service. Recognizing the sacred dance of joy and sorrow enriches one's inner landscape, fostering resilience. This expanded awareness extends to global challenges, inspiring actions that contribute to collective well-being. Every act of kindness, like a drop in a pond, creates ripples touching distant shores. Spiritual practices nurture and sustain this harmony. Meditation deepens awareness. Communion with nature fosters connection, and creative arts allow soulful expression. Service becomes a joyful extension of self, imbuing everyday life with purpose. A former lawyer opening an animal refuge finds simple joy in caring for creatures and meditating under the stars. Though outwardly modest, such a life vibrates with profound meaning accessible to all who seek it. The dynamic nature of harmony means growth continues, embracing challenges as opportunities for further evolution. Even in peaceful states, doubts and sorrows arise. Rather than resist, the awakened meet these with mindfulness, viewing them as portals to deeper insight. A grieving woman learns to hold her loss tenderly, discovering renewal within the cycle of life and death. This capacity to accept the whole spectrum of experience without losing equilibrium marks true inner strength. As this journey unfolds, one realizes that awakening is not a destination, but an endless exploration. Each phase enriches the soul's spiral climb toward greater consciousness and unity with existence. While paths differ widely, all share this infinite expansion. Recognizing your stage in this process allows for gentle self-compassion and encourages continued growth. Many will revisit earlier phases, unearthing new lessons and insights, much like a river circling familiar banks with fresh depth. If these reflections resonate with your own experiences or curiosity, know that your soul is reaching toward a new horizon. This awakening voice may manifest through unexpected encounters, meaningful books, or synchronistic events. Listening deeply to this call opens doors to profound transformation. Let your journey be guided by trust in yourself and the universe, which perpetually supports your unfolding.